Afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for waiting so patiently whilst we let the last few people join. I can see that there are some people coming in, so yeah, thank you and welcome to our webinar, Digital Transformation from Edge to Enterprise. Before we get started, I just want to let you all know that your microphones and cameras will be turned off throughout the webinar. If you do have any questions though at any point, please do put them into the chat box because we will be doing a Q&A session at the end. So on today's agenda, we're going to be looking at why digital transformation matters and what it actually means when we're talking about it from edge to enterprise. We're going to be looking at the digital transformation triad. We're going to be looking at challenges associated with it, as well as some different architectures and how you can connect your people and data with different technology enablers. So I would like to introduce our two presenters that we have with us today. So we have Abdallah Abdallah. Abdallah, would you like to say hi?
Hello, Shannon. Hello, everyone. And thanks for joining us again on another webinar of AITS.
Yeah, and we also have Ahmed Abbas as well. Ahmed,
hello, everyone. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining. Hopefully, you'll enjoy it.
I'm sure everyone will. Okay, so we will get started now. I will turn my camera off and pass over to you, Abdallah.
Thank you, Shannon, and again, welcome everyone. My name is Abdallah Abdallah. I'm the CEO of AITS. Some of you know me, I think, from before. So happy to be today on this webinar to talk about some serious topic going on, which is basically digital transformation. As you might be aware, we operate in the industrial sector, so our webinar today is mostly around the digital transformation from edge to enterprise in the industrial sector. When we say industrial sector, it has multiple segments from manufacturing to water management, electricity and utilities, oil and gas, etc. Anything that produce any segment that produce products and then eventually sold to businesses or sold to consumers. So we have lots of discussions with customers around digital transformation, why it matters, what's all about, and the serious various challenges we have. So definitely digital transformation has matters strategically to businesses. There are lots of studies, lots of researchers in terms of strategic importance, why it matters to businesses in terms of growth. A study of Accenture showed that companies with digital strategies who start already implementing digital strategies are growing 5 times faster than their peers who are not transforming at the same pace or did not even start their digital journey. It definitely helps with competitive advantage. Maintaining a competitive advantage as a cornerstone for the sustainability of the business by having tools and means to always be innovative by creating new products, establishing new business models, and new ways of working. In terms of decision making, it helps having data, insights, helps with decision making. So companies leveraging data to make those decisions are 5 times faster, of course, faster, more accurate in terms of making the decision and moving faster than competitors. Importantly as well, sustainability and ESG. Having a digital system or digital ecosystem, to be exact, around from edge to enterprise around certain sectors would definitely help with energy consumption. That's one. One of the Forbes studies says that it helps cut 20 to 30% of the consumption. And not only that, having a digital system, a single source of truth digital workflows, digital business processes, helps with governance, which is an important part of any ESG moving forward for companies. And definitely it helps with operational efficiency, the overall efficiency, or more broadly, the productivity of industries. Studies show by Deloitte that it helped increase 10 to 15% of the throughput and help with constraint resolution in production and all manufacturing process. It also helped with the companies staying agile. Digital transformation help companies respond to different market changes in terms of any market pressure, consumer demands that is fast changing as well. So having the right systems, the right partnerships, the right ecosystem, the whole digital ecosystem, like I was saying earlier, helps companies stay agile and transform faster. So I was checking with our fellows in the famous ChatGPT and the peers. I wanted to understand how they define digital transformation, because as we move on, as we speak to people, to different people in different industries, you really find maybe different definitions. So I was intrigued to understand or to see what AI is talking about, or Gen AI is saying about, or talking about how they define digital transformation from edge to enterprise. And they obviously had different different definitions. There are lots of them you find in common, but what is really in the common themes, we can say, is that they all talk about the strategic importance of it, the agility, the efficiency, decision making, etc., innovation. But at the same time, the three definitions really goes around the three key pillars, which is the organization itself. So the whole organization is transforming. The processes, the business processes needs transformation, as well as the technology. So the triad of digital transformation around organization, people, process and technology. Just my slides are moving a little bit slower than I wanted because of the webinar technology. It's not enough digitally transformed enough, it seems. Not sure what's happening. Yep. Oh, no. This is what happens. Yeah, so digital transformation, people sometimes mistakenly think it's a digital project. It's implementing a technology, and technology has a magic wand. It will help us be competitive, be agile, be more efficient, more productive, more sustainable, etc. This is part of the story. Technology is a tool, is an enabler for that transformation. But we should always see digital transformation as an entire corporate transformation. It includes the organization as a whole, the leadership, the culture, the people, the org structure itself, and everything around the organization. It also includes the processes, all the process. So redesigning the process, so we don't digitalize the process as is. We improve it. We should see how we can do things better. As I said earlier, new ways of working before digitalizing the as is. If we digitalize the as is, then if we have a problem in the as is, we are just making it a digital problem instead. So around going into the process automation, the RPA, the process mining, understanding how we can improve on these different use cases. and with a mindset of continuous improvement, always iterating, revising, getting the information from the process, how things can get better, is there any bottlenecks, etc. So this is an entire business process revamp, so to speak, part of digital transformation. So if we go and digitalize as is, we are implementing another tool, a third tool, or maybe a fifth tool we have in the plant or in the factory, and then we might not really reach the objectives that we have in place. So the example of technologies around, we're talking today about edge to enterprise, so we talk about edge computing. My colleague Ahmed will touch base on this architecture later on. Edge computing, IoT, cloud and AI, cybersecurity and data, and so many other technology enabler that are part of that triad. So again, remember, it's about the people and the organization, process, and the technology. No. All right. So let's see certain different sets of challenges. We'll go through the organization and process and organization and people challenges. Today is not our topic to really discuss them in detail. We'll focus a little bit more about the technology itself, the architecture, with Ahmed later on. But digital transformation, as I said earlier, it's part of the organization, process, and technology. So organization challenges, first of all, it starts top line. The top approach is business goals, misalignment of the business goals. Why are we doing that? So if today's KPIs are outdated, how can digital transformation help improve them? So aligning the business goals, understanding why we are doing it, the sense of urgency of doing it, the short-term goals, the long-term KPI goals, and the objectives and KPIs are to be set, are to be aligned from leadership to management to frontliners as a whole. So this is important to know. We see that lots of fragmentation around that, and with various customers and various partners we talk to. There's the question of the capex, the cost, the investment that an organization is required to commit to, and the value generated by this digital transformation. Actually, sometimes it's hard to really make an exact calculation, which is required part of the capex calculation, capex investment. So an ROI, let's say, would increase throughput by 10%. It's just an example, 10%. So how much was this 10% in dollar sign, and then how does dollar sign on a 5-year or a 10-year return on investment or payback period, and all the IRR calculation and the net present value calculation. This is not an easy task to do. This is on the different stakeholders, the end users themselves, with their finance team, with their management leadership, and then the board, to really have this study clear according to the KPIs and business objectives that they have in place. And then lots of organization lack standardization and governance. I was talking about processes before. They don't have these processes documented, mapped, controlled, governed, and then the events that are generated by these processes, the accountability of certain decisions is not well defined. So this is important. Again, as I said earlier, we don't digitalize it as is. If we digitalize it as is, we are inheriting the problem, but just making it digital. So we're not really fixing it. And then in this process of digital transformation and the implementation of different initiatives, let's say, company has to stay agile. So something really important to understand: digital transformation is not a project. It's not one project and that's it. It's a journey that has multiple initiatives that people have. Organization must stay agile around that and see how they can improve, change their initiative, change their priorities depending on sometimes conflicting priorities, what to start with, what to stop if it's not working well. So dealing it with as a project with milestones and fix and waterfall is not the correct way of approaching this type of transformation. Fragmented workflows and across silos, you see different departments. Everyone has their own process. There are silos. They barely even communicate sometimes, let alone having a unified process end to end. And production teams, manufacturing teams, procurement, maintenance, so on and so forth. We see real life examples as we engage in the market. Now on people, okay, on people, and they are the cornerstone of any transformation. If people do not use a system, so we are transforming for people, right? So we want the technology to enable, to empower people to make better decisions, whether they are on the front line or on the front line, or whether they are middle managers, senior managers, etc. So what we see in different engagement, there are really some gaps in skills and the needs for upskilling of different people of how to use technology, how to understand it first as an enabler, and then to make the best use out of it. This is also one of the challenges around people. We have always a question of job replacement, the social implication of that. People are sometimes reject digital tools or digital technology because they're afraid of being replaced by that technology. Now, I'm not saying that certain jobs won't be replaced by technology, but I'm not saying people are replaced by technology. Some functions would be replaced by technology, but people can always be upskilled and retrained or reskilled to do some other jobs hand in hand with the technology, so they can do their job better than that. On leadership misalignment, I touched base on this earlier. Sometimes digital transformation projects are, while they need a high level, or let's say leadership sponsorship, board sponsorship, but lots of time they stop at that. So they lead it without engaging stakeholders on the middle level, on the shop floor level, on the front line level. What happens in this case? You have key stakeholders, super users of the system in the future, getting afraid of the change. They resist that change, whether they resist it actively or they resist it passively, and eventually these transformation initiatives or projects end up failing because they were meant to empower people. When people are misaligned with the objectives, as I was mentioning earlier, they tend to really resist this type of changes. We also have what we call the cultural silos and the poor cross-functional collaboration among different departments. Sometimes such initiatives are driven by IT teams. IT, their technology literacy is usually higher than people on the shop floor. So you see this type of resistance, this type of friction between various departments. And this also comes back to the same point I was mentioning earlier about the misalignment between all stakeholders. So to really overcome lots of these challenges, one thing for sure is that a digital transformation across organization and people is a multi-stakeholder approach. Any stakeholder that has value in this business, that adds value to the business, that help create value to your customers, must be involved in this process. That's enough on the challenges of organization and people. Let's say a little bit on technology, because we're talking about edge to enterprise and the architecture later with Ahmed. So in the industrial sector, we have lots of legacy systems, lots of old SCADA, sometimes old networks, intermittent networks. We have latencies. You have communication protocols that are not aligned. They are not up to the latest standards, etc. So you need to connect and get the data, right? And sometimes this might be an obstacle. The famous cybersecurity risks. We know that getting data from shop floor, from OT, from operational technology to the IT domain or even to the cloud is always a question around cybersecurity, how to secure my data, the data diodes to be there, the ensuring that that maybe one directional data transfer for most of the cases is there. When we have two directional, cybersecurity requirement become even more complicated. So this is also something important. On scalability and vendor lock-in, lots of technologies today, you find different departments maybe trying different pilots or different initiatives, and they get successful initiatives, successful pilots, okay, with certain vendors. They face a challenge of how to scale it agnostically. So it's important for organization not to be locked in to certain vendors, to stay, what we call it, on the low code end of the technology. You don't want eventually your digital systems to look like a Frankenstein monster. You need, as we were mentioning earlier, to stay agile and to change it as needed. So this is something we also see with technology, and some approach by certain technology vendors around the market. Data management. Today you have lots of data, and I'll leave that point a little bit to the later slide before I hand over to Ahmed on data management, data consistency and synchronization, which is really let me say the blood of the transformation. So if we don't have data, first of all, access to this data, then structuring the data. Lots of data from legacy systems are non-structured data. Structuring it, data from different formats, not in a unified namespace, accessing it, structuring it, storing it, and then using it for analytics, for analysis and insight is what eventually would allow a certain initiative to fail or succeed. Today, 47% of today's workers struggle to find information. Although you go into a factory, you find lots of PLCs, lots of automation systems, sometimes historians, enterprise systems, ERPs, quality systems, lots of systems in silos. but certain reports take ages to be able to ages to get generated. So this type of data raise the question, what I call the data question. This type of challenges raise the question around data. 73% of data collected today is hardly used for further analytics. So we have a data usability problem here. And this problem will become even bigger as 75% of the data generated across the enterprise will be processed at the edge. So we need proper edge architecture. And then to know as well that 76% of business leaders find it really difficult to understand their data. As I was saying earlier, even if you have certain data, they're not able to interpret it, get insight, and help them to make decisions of what has to be done, what needs to be improved, etc., etc. So it raises the question of the need to connect people and data by removing barriers to data aggregation, data sharing, data usability, using a comprehensive edge to enterprise data management solution, and what we call an edge to enterprise architecture with a unified namespace for a real-time single source of truth. So eventually, if any initiative with certain objective in place does not eventually, as an end product, allow us to use the data generated across different systems and use it for decision making as a single source of truth, then we should have a question around what did we do. So in order for us not to question around what we did, let's hear Ahmed of what he has to say around edge to enterprise architecture. Over to you, Ahmed.
Thank you, Abdallah. My name is Ahmed Abbas. I'm Delivery Director of AITS. Today, I'm going to take you through the edge to enterprise architecture and actually what is the current architecture situation and how can we move it into enterprise. So first, as an introduction, in the industrial automation system, where computers and software are in place for last many decades, like transmitters, actuators, PLCs, gateways, RTUs, DCs, SCADA, ABC system, and MES extra are some of the commonly used subsystems of late. These subsystems are further enhanced to do more than monitoring and control. Such as asset tracking, asset management, and so on. So the scope of the discussion also includes such enhanced functionalities of control and asset management systems, which are now unleashed by digital technologies. So the digital technologies considered like IoT, cloud, analytics, AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, which is AR and VR, mobility, edge computing, and smart sensors. And the latest also like blockchain, SG are excluded since their impact and use cases with the industrial automation systems are yet to emerge. So it's not yet ready to be actually migrated and used in our scope mechanism. So from functionality perspective, electronics and software systems in industrial automation space can be structured in multiple layers, where I believe some of you here as automation engineers will know and will understand this type of hierarchy. So let me demonstrate this graph. Which is the automation pyramid. This is a very famous architecture. Almost all the automation engineers knows about it. It consists of multiple layers, which is interactive and communicating with each other, starting from the field or level 0 layer to level 5, which is the enterprise level layer. So from layer 0, if we need to recap quickly on this pyramid, so from the first layer or layer 0, it's about the transmitters, sensors, and the final control elements, which collects the real-time data and also get both in continuous and regulating and control the execution on this low level. It's like in programming language, the assembly level or low level language which interacts directly with the actual hardware. Layer 1, which is actually does the interfacing and processing of data and control functionalities as per the predefined programs and commands from the upper layers. Layer 2, which is a data presentation and human interaction layer, which actually encompasses the control console and also the large scale software subsystems like DCS and SCADA. Layer 4, which handles the plant-specific high-level management, such as load sharing, scheduling, etc. And Layer 5 is a pure enterprise resource management layer with applications like the business intelligence, resource management, planning, HR, finance, etc. And if we can see it here clearly, that layer 3 are the operational systems, which is the OT layer, while layer 4 and 5 are the enterprise layers, which are known as IT layers. So from functionality perspectives, electronics and software systems in the industrial automation space can be structured in this way. I believe this is a well-known structure or architecture for all the automation engineers. Yeah, this is also another sample, okay, of the same architecture deployed on some sort of SCADA and Aviva terminology. For the same 5 layers that we talked and explained about in the last slide. Yeah. So traditionally, the plant and factory operators have relied on established system to effectively manage processes and assets. This conventional system, such as transmitters and actuators and RTUs, etc., they were reliably supported operational control by offering data access, event correlation tools, and actionable insights into the plant behavior. While these legacy systems address the core what and why questions of plant operations, the value of the historical data often remains underutilized. So massive volumes of the informations are captured and stored, but rarely analyzed to their full potential for continuous improvement or predictive insights. Now, with the rising expectations of real-time responsiveness and also the operational agility and proactive decision-making, operators and the owners are turning towards a unified namespace architecture, which this approach actually it consolidates the data from disparate system into a centralized context rich environment, allowing the stakeholders to access and analyze and act on critical information in real time. By bridging the traditional infrastructure, which everybody actually used to work on, with the modern digital capabilities and unified namespace architecture, it helps us also to transform the passive data storage into an active driver of operational excellence. Yeah. So, as the industries pursue higher level of performance, they must also evolve from reactive to predictive operations. The digital transformation enables this shift by harnessing the AI, seamless data integration, and secure anytime, anywhere terminology kind of access. By embedding these digital technologies into the traditional system within a unified namespace architecture, organizations are unlocking actually the operational visibility and the control and foresight as well. So that the emerging trends enabled, which will actually be our tools used to enable this, like smart sensors, cameras, drones, for example, are delivering a real-time operational insights. Also, wireless devices, reducing the infrastructure and complexity and enhancing flexibility as well. IoT and hybrid cloud platform leveraging unified name space architecture for a centralized and contextualized data access. AI-driven analytics, which is enabling actually forecasting and proactive decision making. For sure, also edge computing, which is supporting instant and localized processing within the broader architecture. Web and mobile applications, which is providing a role-based custom visualization and also augmented reality, the AR, and mixed reality, MR, also empowering as a frontline operators with contextual information, and enhanced safety through video analytics and autonomous monitoring, which is actually integrated into the unified namespace for a real-time awareness as well. Yeah. So as a conclusion, today is that technology vendors actually sometimes they are referred as OEMs as well. They are under pressure to accelerate the digital transformation journey, often in-house teams and incumbent service providers struggle to bring the needed out-of-the-box thinking and the innovation component to it. So the right partner chosen for this transformation journey is important to make it successful. An ideal partner is expected to have in-depth knowledge in existing conventional industrial automation system. So overall, the industrial control systems are evolving beyond the monitoring and control to deliver intelligence, safety, and predictive capabilities. And this transformation is well underway, not disruptive, but necessary. So they must actually, as the technology vendors, embrace digitalization and integration early to stay competitive. And the future of industrial automation is still unfolding, and the innovation will shape what comes next on this journey. Yeah. So back again to what Abdallah mentioned in the first part. So unified data access, like edge computing, process data closer to the source, reducing latency and enabling real-time decision making. Enterprise-wide connectivity ensures also a centralized visibility and allowing teams to access the relevant insights from anywhere. Contextualized and actionable insight like AI-driven analytics transform the raw data into a meaningful insights, helping all the employees make informed decisions. And also the predictive models assist also in proactively issue resolution and reducing downtime, unplanned outages, and optimize operation. Collaboration and workforce enablement, also it's a cloud-based platforms which allow to secure data sharing across department and improve coordination. Mobile and remote access empower employees also to interact with live data, enhancing the response time. Yeah, so back to you, Abdallah, to take us through the key takeaways and recommendations.
Thank you, Ahmed. So yeah, as Ahmed was saying, the importance of connecting people and data, part of how the traditional edge to enterprise architecture is evolving, how the technology itself is evolving from being an industrial automation system, so to speak, to an entire digital system. So lots of the challenges we spoke about technology really would be addressed with this modern architecture as an enterprise architecture as a whole, from the edge to enterprise, through that. So as I said earlier, we wanted this webinar to really touch point on the technology part, being a technology partner and a transformation partner in the market. We will have in the near future further sessions around the other challenges around organization and process challenges and how we can address them. But as a whole, if we want to really recap on most of the topics we spoke about today, we have certain takeaways or certain recommendations to really build on for the future. And most importantly, as a start, we need to understand why our organization is digitally transforming and needs to digitally transform. We need to get the leadership, sponsorship, and commitment, board, leadership team, and then cascade this commitment to the rest of the organization. We must ensure that the cross-functional collaboration, cross-functional collaboration by ensuring that we have all the stakeholders involved and this vision and the sense of urgency of the why, right? So we define the why and then we say, we have to do it. Let's get it done. So this sense of urgency for transformation is really critical and important with communicating the vision. Should be driven by business value creation or addition, use cases with proven ROI. So we don't just implement a tool without really studying the ROI, why we're doing it, and what's short-term, medium, and long-term value created by that use case, for instance. Digital transformation is really about finding new ways of working. It's a true corporate transformation that requires proper change management, identifying resistance and any active or passive resistance among people and stakeholders, because it really transforms core business processes and requires change in people's skills and behavior. So technology alone will not do it. It requires leadership to really help with that whole transformation and change management of the organization. It's a journey. It's not all at once deployment project. So when we set the vision and the objectives and we have everyone on board, should have proper roadmap, a journey, what we are doing, and stay agile for this journey and change it and adapt as we learn from the lessons. Potentially start with the proof of value and then scale it. And then where we can focus on implementing use cases that can get some quick wins to help us refuel and re-energize this transformation. When we see some really quick wins, we see some initiatives sometimes, I don't know, I would say maybe dreaming about certain things to happen. It takes ages of implementation. We end up with a very complex architecture, very complex systems that rarely deliver value. Where can we really have a quick win, quick improvement, maybe in production, quick improvement in maintenance, predictive maintenance on certain assets? There are lots of use cases where really you can, energy management, it can really help a lot in delivering value. So we don't really need to be scared of a digital transformation. It really starts from pain points. What can we solve? How can we solve this pain point? How can we improve the equipment efficiency or people efficiency, etc., etc. So it does not have to be a big bang, and it's not the big bang. And then when we implement pilots, proof of values, we can learn and then scale as we go. And definitely, as it's a journey, it's continuous improvement, continuous iteration. As we implement a system for certain use cases, once successful, we have the data to analyze what's going on and use the data to improve the process and improve people competencies, people skills, and empower them. So it's a continuous process, a continuous improvement process, with lean always in mind, of how we can do things better in a more efficient way tomorrow, better than today. And then it requires partnership, like Ahmed was mentioning earlier, because we require radical collaboration among different stakeholders, whether internal stakeholders or external stakeholders. Sometimes competitors would really collaborate together to deliver certain value to a customer. We should not shy away from really sometimes collaborate between us as different technology vendors and service providers to deliver customer value. So we should approach that with an open innovation mindset. Sometimes we innovate together as technology, as well as with the customer. The Edge to Enterprise architecture, unified namespace, require this open collaborative innovation space, which is what we call the digital ecosystem. So we need a partner with strong digital ecosystem that can bring different buyer. There's no single technology vendor that has it all. It's again multiple approach, a multiple vendor approach to really implement such systems. We need partners with the right industry expertise, so they know our business, they understand what we do on a daily basis, and help us do things better before we digitalize. As I said earlier, they have the technical expertise, they know how to architect the system, they know what is business transformation, what is change management, they have a proven methodology to that approach, and most importantly, on top of all, they share common values with our organization. So we have a common vision with them, with the customer, common values to go and improve how they do business. Thank you everyone for listening to us, and back to you, Shannon.
Thank you, Abdallah. Sorry, like you said, there is a bit of a lag on the system there. Okay, so we are going to go into the Q&A section now. I can see that there are a few questions that have come in already. Before I go into them, there is someone that's commented saying the PowerPoint is very interesting. So thank you for your feedback. So I'm not sure who wants to answer this first question. So the question is, we've got different systems and machines from over the years that don't really work together. What's the best way to connect everything without having to replace it all?
I think this question is to Ahmed.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So I believe the best can you see me? Okay. Yeah. So I believe the best approach is to implement a unified namespace architecture, as we emphasized during our presentation, that will act as a centralized, contextualized data layer, which is connecting a legacy system to modern digital tools. Rather than replacing the old machinery, actually we could bridge the gap using edge computing and smart connectors that gather and unify the data in real time from various sources like SCADA, PLC, sensors, and so on, and integrate them into an enterprise IT system. So the unified namespace will consolidate the data sources into a centralized one and to a contextualized architecture and structure, and breaking the data silos as well, and enable a real-time collaboration. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
The next question that we've had come in. Okay, so we're collecting lots of data from our equipment, but it's hard to actually use it to make better decisions. So what advice can you give for making that data more useful?
Okay. So to make this data actionable, I believe we need to improve data literacy across teams to ensure they understand and trust this data, using the AI-driven analytics and the predictive models to transform the raw data into actionable insights. Also, we need to adapt to an edge to enterprise data management strategies that actually unifies the structure and the data for real-time visibility and usage. Also, we need to focus on removing data silos and synchronizing across departments using the cloud and hybrid platform. This is mainly the 4 steps that we need to take in order to achieve it. Yeah, to make it more useful. Yeah.
Okay, another question, essentially one for you, Abdallah. So how do you make the case for digital transformation when budgets are tight and leadership wants to see quick returns?
Run. Yeah, definitely. Again, I mentioned that earlier. Digital transformation does not really need to be a big bang Frankenstein monster. We can start small. We can focus on what we can improve in the near future. Some use cases, pain points that using the right combination of people, process, and technology can help us improve on that. Okay, very simple case, as I mentioned it earlier, maybe moving from a reactive maintenance to proactive maintenance. Okay, this is one high-level use case. How can technology help us? What improvement we need to do on the process, on the culture of maintenance, how we need to train our people to use the new system, so on and so forth. So it does not really have to be a big bang. Going with a large budget with so complicated capex studies and ROI and maybe a payback period over 10-15 years will make the case harder. What we see, what really works with boards, is coming with some tangible small cases that can really start the journey. It's a journey at the end. It's a journey that should start again by having the vision clear. At least we should have the vision clear, the alignment with leadership clear, then start on the small use cases as we go. The decision to go digital, to transform digitally, I don't think it's a question anymore of whether we should or we should not. We all should go digitally. We have a workforce, young Gen Zs, who don't expect them to sit behind a large, big white computer screen and do their job. They need to be mobile. They need to do sometimes the job from home, so on and so forth. So there are lots of trends that prove, and I was mentioning it earlier as well at the first slide, business imperatives that prove the case of digital transformation. The question is not whether we should transform or not. The question is how we approach the transformation.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Before I say that one, for anyone that has sent a question in that we've not had time to answer, we will come back to you after this webinar by email. So, okay, final question. What is your advice for avoiding vendor lock-in as we roll out more connected systems and platforms?
Is it to me? Okay, I'll
who's
take
best
that.
For that one?
Yeah, I can take that. I can take that. Standardization. Okay, unified namespace, like Ahmed was saying, from architecting the edge to enterprise systems, having the standard communication protocols, open protocols, agnostic platforms. People know that we are an Aviva partner. Aviva recently launched Connect. Connect is a cloud platform to help build this digital ecosystem and communicate with this different system from around the globe, let's say, from different vendors. There are ways of doing it. Most importantly, whether you choose us, Aviva, our technology or not, make sure that vendor lock-in to get away from vendor lock-in is have the right technology that is open with the right standards in place. There are lots of industry standards out there, from ISA, for example, for manufacturing, ISA 95, and so on and so forth. So there are proper standards that help guide us how we implement such systems in an open way, an open innovation way. I hope I answered that.
Thank you very much. Okay, so like I said, I think that is about all we have time for now. Yes, to the person that's sent a question in asking if we will share the presentation, you will be getting a copy of the recording of this webinar, so you can see it then. And yes, as I said, we will be getting back to every other question as well by email. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. And we hope you enjoyed everything and found it useful. And yeah, if you do think of any more questions afterwards, our contact details will be on the email when I share this recording. So thank you very much. We hope to see you on the next webinar. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Abdallah. Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, everyone.